What's the latest on this garbage dump thing?
What do you mean?
The fire department wanting to, is that ever gonna be something?
TJ, it's on his list to look into now. But it's not necessarily one of the priorities at the moment. What's that? Project? I didn't. Yeah, Steve started looking into it and never really did a whole lot with it. And then fire chief asked me, and I talked to a gentleman at the county, and was looking into it. And then TJ came in and started looking into it as well. Oh, look at her! Oh, look at her! Is she?
Well, I was gonna show you the granddaughters, and you see how she has that really thick front.
Yeah.
She's a little shorter. This
Mhm.
one's more border collie,
Okay.
but
She takes out her pit bull.
Little bit, yeah.
she just,
They all look a little bit different.
yeah, she's really a snuggle-bug.
She's thick.
She is.
Yeah.
She's solid. She's really solid.
Yeah, there's a couple other people that were keeping in touch with us until probably about a year ago. There was a couple out at the coast that came and got one. They got the one I really wanted to keep, but my wife wanted a different one. So, yeah, we tried to keep in touch with her for a little while.
I just need to take a picture. I didn't get mine.
Oh, would you like to take mine?
No, because
Are you
you're
sure?
gonna need it. Oh, come on.
Did you break it?
No, I'm out of storage on this old phone and it won't let me
Uh-oh.
do it. Hang on, I can do it.
Well, I
I'm
can
gonna-
take a picture of it, and then you can take this.
No, it's fine. I'll just take a picture on my.
I'm gonna beat you to it.
Text it to
I
my
beat you to
husband,
it.
and then I can keep it. Okay.
You want the paper?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't want to mess you up.
That's fine. I've got it on my phone now. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hate meetings, and I don't like it to go long. So I tend to kind of truck along. If there's something you think needs more attention and
Mhm.
I'm stepping over it, stop, okay?
Just fine by me.
Okay.
Your video isn't working. You couldn't access your camera. Turn the camera on. It was just on.
Hey, Mark, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Good. So that camera is going to give you some crap. I've got one sitting on my desk that needs to get put in its place, but the computer's so old that it won't take the input for it. So,
Okay. And the other thing,
About the speakers, yeah.
yeah, the sound is coming out of the computer, not the speakers.
that may be what you similarly have to deal with. Let me tell you how you can deal with it if it allows you to. Is that little arrow pointing down next to the mic? You can select that and choose another speaker, and if you're lucky enough, it'll switch to the other one.
You got me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I clicked on the other option and it. Let me try again.
Okay. Yeah, let's see if it does anything for you.
All right, can you give me a test?
Yeah. Does that work? Hello,
Nope.
hello? Yep.
Nope.
Yep, nope, that's a negative.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, you're back to the computer, right?
Yep.
That's all right. So before next week's council work session, let's go ahead and get my desktop little square computer over there.
Okay.
And the webcam too. We'll work on that together.
Sounds good. See if we can keep this camera.
And Mark, I'm going to share my screen here in a second too.
Sounds good.
Do we got
So we
a
all-
quorum?
What's that?
Do we have a quorum tonight?
We got him, we got the mayor, and we got Jeannie.
Great.
Get
How-
Oak
how many
Street
is a
all
quorum
figured
again?
out?
Huh?
Did you get Oak Street all figured out yet?
Oh, I'm not talking about that.
No, that's
That
its
is a
own
legal
it's its
nightmare.
own ball of wax.
Nope.
We're working through
Go
it.
in there.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
glad it's
keep
you and not me.
my pointer over this camera button.
I just go. I'm not getting involved.
Wonder
I'm going to share my screen. Nah.
We did.
Yeah, we don't. We generally don't bother with that.
Okay.
This is today's the 5th. Okay.
All right, y'all should be able to see this on your screen now.
I got the speakers working too.
They
Hey,
work
nice
very-
job.
I unplugged them and plugged them back in.
The classic fix.
My technical expertise.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I left my agenda at City Hall.
I didn't even make it there. I'm just,
Well, it was given to me and I left it there.
well.
So, Mark, you should see it on the screen.
just
No, everybody should see
thankful
that
I
there.
showered before I came.
Oh geez, yeah, she's
Okay, very good.
pretty.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I got your screen and I've got it up on the
Good.
projector. Is there, do I make it full screen or do you make it full screen?
So you can make it full screen on your end, and I might be able to optimize it too, but let me see. But you should be able to make it full screen on your end.
Okay, let's see here. Let's zoom.
Yeah, you have different view options.
Mayor's coming in for the rescue.
Cool.
I can't see. The only problem is I can't see.
It's hard to see you unless you're the one looking at.
This?
Yeah, go. Should make it. It should make it bigger. It's not making it bigger. Okay.
I'm trying to get rid of all the zoom stuff, so it's just
Is
the.
there a parks plan that we can pull up online?
Yes, it is on.
Yes.
No, I'm not talking about the old one.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't have a new
Well,
one.
and
We are
then
going to be working on that.
let's see. Where
So,
Tonight?
well, probably not tonight.
You?
We're gonna go over what the plan is for it and then move
I
forward.
read through that
So,
parks plan today.
It's so outdated.
It's so full of fluff, it ain't funny.
Well. We'll get
Yeah, I
into it
think,
during the
yeah.
meeting, but generally make the plan.
His screen.
Oh,
I
this
can't
is-
click on
oh,
any
you
of
can't click on
that.
that, okay.
Might wanna
Um,
be- So that if a grant comes up, it's already
Let's take a look at.
in your plan
TJ's already.
and
I
you
know.
can go for it. So.
I know,
yeah.
but the cost parts are way off too.
Yeah, I think you just need to scroll.
But
Or
that
TJ
thing
just-
shows the schools being,
Yeah.
well, I'll just wait for the.
Yeah, I know. We're well aware that it's,
Yeah, just scroll.
we can't use it at all.
I didn't like it when they brought it and passed it the first time.
Yeah.
Cause it was so full of fluff and
Okay.
nothing.
Hey. Have a seat. Wherever you like.
She's gonna come sit here so that she can see kind of what I do and then
Okay.
I'm gonna take you. Yeah.
That's nice. It seems like we're like fancy or something.
How's it going on that projector end?
Well, we got the projector up. It's just, it's not full screen. You can still see all the
I
team stuff around it.
I couldn't get it there. I can't get it.
So
full
it's not
screen
just
for 'em.
your screen. It's
So we'll
everything
just
else.
have you scroll, TJ. It's fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Are you wanting to see it like this?
Yeah, we can see it, but it's small when you do it that way.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about. So we can leave it
Yeah.
like I can
That's the
scroll, no
agenda?
problem.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just the agenda. It's just one.
Yeah,
page.
I just
and
pulled
I'll
it up
switch
on
to
my
a
phone.
presentation in a minute too, so it'll be
Oh,
better
okay,
on that.
gotcha. Okay.
Cool.
I mean, I think everybody's here, so everybody just needs to turn their mics on and.
So the agenda is right here. We're just gonna
Yep.
go over some planning for the master plan. And then look at some funding opportunities. But before we jump too much into the agenda, I wanted to just recognize that we're meeting again for the first time in a while. And I wanted to make sure y'all knew that we have a new format. I think I've spoken with most of y'all about this already. So Mark will be your staff liaison for this committee. I continue to do planning commission and the other committees in the council, but it's very appropriate for Mark to take a leadership role on the Parks and Beautification Committee. So he'll be staffing every meeting, and I'll be at many meetings, but not necessarily every one of them, although we'll be coordinating together on what goes on the agenda and how those agenda items plug into other committees, as we're going to talk a little bit about tonight. Mark, you want to comment at all?
Uh, excuse me. This will be my first time leading a meeting, and then as TJ said, we're going to kind of transition more into me doing it more on my own. He's kind of helping walk me through it right now, and the next one probably, and then we're going to try and transition to more of me leading it. So please bear with me. I agree with what you were saying, Councilor Cuthbertson, about trying to get through them and not drag them on, but at the same time, there's things that got to get discussed. So
Oh, absolutely.
I understand that.
Absolutely.
Did you want to do roll call real quick? I think that's Jeannie's job, but
Yeah.
Well, no.
All the
if
meeting
it's
to order
really
and all
good
that.
job.
okay. So, okay. All right.
We can't
Okay.
convolute. We got one.
Oh, you're no fun.
So I get the smasher stick.
The smasher stick. The
Well, yeah,
gavel.
the meeting, if that's
I
how
don't
it's
even know where
going,
the
you're the
gavel
guy.
Who's the chair?
Hold on, I'm going to put the agenda back up.
The chair should be doing that.
So trying to
All
figure
right,
out
here
if
we
I
go.
call to order or if the chair calls to order.
So the chair calls the order, and that's Jeannie. And here's the members, of course, if you want to do roll call, Councilor Cuthbertson.
Okay, I'm gonna call the meeting to order, the Parks meeting to order at 6:08 PM. Apologize for being a little bit late. We'll do roll call. Tim Eastridge,
Here.
Dan Sheets,
Present.
Cynthia Evans.
Present.
Kara Williams is not here this evening, and I am here, Jeannie Cuthbertson.
As well as myself, Mark Murray.
So is this the Parks Committee and Beautification or just Parks?
Parks and Beautification are together. Yep.
They got married.
Good.
Yep. And what's nice
Go.
about that is there's going to be parts of this, like we'll talk about tonight, that relate to things like the master plan. And there's going to be parts of this committee that relate to people rolling up their sleeves and putting plants in the ground and things like that. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity to do both of those pieces. And I know there's several of you that are excited about the beautification part.
Absolutely.
So TJ, I'm a little confused because you said that Mark is going to be leading. So I don't know who does what now if he's leading, but if I'm chairing. So you're going to have to help me out with how that works.
Thanks. So really what we have tonight is a staff presentation, and I will give the staff presentation. Mark and I had the opportunity to go over all of this previously. I'm going to talk through really just, if you look at the agenda, those first two items, which kind of get us to a timeline. These slides are just intended as discussion pieces so that we can look at them and have a conversation. So Mark, I really want you to lead that organic discussion, because we're going to be talking about timelines and answering Tim's questions, for example.
Okay.
In the future meetings, you'll
You're
obviously
smart.
have Mark leading everything, and Mark, you'll have your own presentations as we discussed before.
Okay.
So just this is helpful information, I think, for everybody. Really have three core documents. There's more than this, but these are the core ones. Your parks master plan is that long range planning document that looks at existing parks and recreation and tries to identify where there might be future needs and priorities or any types of improvements or upgrades, and what those would be. And the goal is to guide the city's investment over time, because those are expensive projects and you want to think about them long range. So you think about how you want to invest in parks, open space, and recreational amenities. That's that parks master plan, and that's what Tim was asking about. There's the land use code, and the city's set. That's a city set of regulations. Planning commissioner folks know that. Mayor Sheets, your years on the planning commission, Commissioner Eastridge, you well know this. This is what governs how our land can be used and developed, and what the zoning is, and what kind of development standards we have for widths and heights and setbacks and so forth. And the Parks Master Plan speaks to the land use code. We'll talk about that in a second. And then finally, you really have the larger document. That's the comprehensive plan. That's the city's really kind of almost like its Bible in terms of how the city develops. It's its long range, long term policy framework that establishes everything in the city's community's vision, what the goals for growth would be, how land use is going to evolve over a long range period of time, how housing is going to be a part of that, and transportation, including those small neighborhood streets that need to get built out, and how the infrastructure builds out along with that, and also things like environmental protection, because we're required to look at that stuff. So these three documents kind of have a dance with one another. It's difficult. It's really not helpful to update one significantly, that is, without updating the others. And so what we'll be doing is updating the Parks Master Plan. That's going to be the work of this committee. There's also the land use code. And again, those speak to each other. So this committee will have a chance to hear things about planning and vice versa. And then eventually what'll happen is we'll feed all of that into the comprehensive plan. So Tim, your question about when. This helps us put that together. So what the Parks Committee will be doing between now and roughly August, September is completing that Parks Master Plan. Planning Commission will take that information and feed it into the work it's also doing with other pieces coming into the land use code as well. The land use code will be ready around October. And then the council and the planning commission together will combine all of this into a final comprehensive plan update, which essentially is our Christmas present to ourselves at the end of this year. That is the goal and how we're trying to sketch this out. So I want to stop there. We have on the agenda as well grants. That's the next agenda item. This is a good opportunity for a discussion about this timeline and thoughts that folks have.
So I'm going to assume that with this timeline for the Parks and Beautification Committee working on this, the master plan, that we're going to need to meet more than once a month would be my guess. Is that safe assumption or no?
What do other folks? I mean, there's a couple ways to do it. I think that
Right.
if pieces are split out well, once a month can work. But Mayor, you make a good argument there, and I wonder what other folks think about that.
Because Tim, you remember when we worked on the comp plan on the planning commission, we met a little more frequently.
Yes, we did.
So I'm just throwing it out there.
Is there a working document that we can go in and change as we go?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that's already developed?
So we have the old Parks Master Plan, and what we're going to do next
Mhm.
month is I'd like all of you to review that between now and next month, and in a good bit of detail. You know, highlight the things that matter to you, that you think are opportunities or concerns to address. And then we're going to look at this next month in April, starting to divvy out what we want to change, what we want to leave alone, so on and so forth, I think.
I have a question. The beautification part, is that part of the parks master plan? Because isn't the beautification also citywide?
So
So
are
yes. So are parks.
Oh, the
So-
parks are the parks, right? I mean, it's not part of
It all works in harmony.
99.
It works in harmony, but this is the parks master plan we have to have for specific park things. We don't necessarily have to have that same structure for beautification.
But it all goes under the same master plan?
Well,
That's my question.
I don't think that beautification is gonna be a whole category under the comp plan. What it would be is if they decided for like the highway corridor or something like that, that they wanted to spruce that up, it would go under that piece. If that we wanted to do something in the parks, that would fall under the parks. So I think beautification is gonna kind of have its fingers in all different places, but the comp plan will encompass them in their respective places they need to be.
Is it part of like a haddock plan when you need that? It's there? Because you're not always going to deal with beautification, but
I think there's going to be, we're going to try to have ongoing projects that are going to keep going.
yeah,
And so it's going to be, it'll still be part, it just makes sense to have it be under this because we've got a lot of different things with volunteers and a lot of that's going to be in parks and cleaning up and stuff like that. But I think that, I mean, there's enough to keep it going year round and do things year round.
so we need to mention that in the parks master plan, that the beautification is a part of this.
We could, if we
we
do,
should.
it's gonna have to be in every piece, but when you, in your master plans, it's projects that you list out. So it would be, we wouldn't necessarily say beautification, but we would say enhance the gardens at the park. And that would fall under the beautifications category, but it would be a line item on a wish list that we want to do for the parks. Am I correct in what I'm saying, TJ? Can you lend help with
You're
that?
knocking it out of the park. I'm just letting you go. You're absolutely right. There's the infrastructure, the stuff we want to build, the stuff that costs money, right? That's the stuff that we want to include in the parks master plan, like Councilor Cuthbertson is talking about. Because when we go to write grants, the grant funder is going to say, well, did you just dream this idea up? And we're going to say, no, we didn't. It's in our parks master plan. So it's about infrastructure and projects. But as Councilor Cuthbertson also just said, if we establish some kind of, planting regimen inside of the park, planters or something around the city, that becomes part of some programs and operations. It doesn't necessarily go into the parks master plan in the same way. It's not gonna be an infrastructure project, but Tim's right. We should definitely mention it. That we have that ongoing effort, especially if we have volunteers doing that work, which is the goal of that beautification piece of this committee.
Well, beautification could cost if we decide to put planters and more
Yep.
benches along 99 or
Yep.
along Commercial and Main and whatever.
Right, and that
Yep.
would go under that specific part of the comp plan. Because it's not in the park, it
Right.
would be in something else. So the actual project will be under the appropriate title in the comp plan. So we can still go after funding for it. But beautification, you are correct in that it is citywide. And so it'll have references in different parts of different plans. But we're just lumping it together and doing it here in the Parks Committee instead of making it its own thing at this point. We
Well,
may decide to make it its own thing.
to keep it harmonized, You want it in every aspect then.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it'll be, because there's lots of things we'd like to do with that, and we'll get into that a
You know, you
little
might
bit
have a little bit
farther.
in one area, a lot more in another area.
Yeah.
It just depends.
Right now, what we'll do is while we're working on the parks master plan, we'll do the parks master plan and include what we see as beautification with that. Then the planning commission will do their planning commission master plan, and they'll also include their portion of what they think beautification is for the planning commission.
The Riverside District will need to incorporate that too.
Exactly.
And that'll be,
It might be already in there.
part of their
Mhm.
meetings and their.
In harmony, so
Right.
we're all happy and bubbly.
Yeah.
Correct.
I get it.
Because parts
Yeah.
of it will all overlap.
Correct.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, TJ, would there be any small grants or anything to help with like benches and planters throughout the city?
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. There are actually. And I am so tempted to jump to a slide that I have ahead, but I'm gonna wait. And what I wanted to do was put a pin in this and make sure we have a commitment from the committee. And let me just say again what it is that we're asking this committee to do. So between now and next month, we want this committee to download and review the existing Parks Master Plan with a lens towards being a citizen and commissioner, committee member, counselor, and so on and so forth, mayor. So before we start getting into the nitty gritty details of what it is as a political document, think about it as a community member and kind of look at the things that you like and you don't like. So that's the first step, is between now and next month. And then what we're asking this committee to do is when we meet next month, we're going to we're going to fill in essentially what the details in that first line where it says Parks Committee, what each month is going to entail, what steps we're going to complete, both during meetings and offline, to get to that goal. So that's what we'll hash out next month. And what I hope will happen is that as folks are reading through this Parks Master Plan, there's certain things each one of you is going to grab onto and want to kind of dig into a little bit more. And that might help us organically distribute some of the revisions and feedback that goes into these next several months. So that's what I'm proposing, and I'm asking this committee tonight to commit to that August, September deadline and discuss it and see if that's something you feel we can commit to.
Are you getting a rare person this year?
No.
We're not getting a rare person this year. But I will say that I'm working on getting a student from the high school, but I'll also say that this isn't a huge lift. It's a good chunk of work. I'm not gonna candy coat it, but it's not a huge lift. We can do this.
Yeah, and if we feel that we need an extra meeting a month or whatnot, I'm pretty flexible. So if we can figure all that out.
My biggest concern is just, in the past, we were told that we could not do it. That's what's been holding us up for the last couple years. But I felt fairly confident that with the structure we had, it was okay, for us to go ahead and make edits and use the new information we had from our town halls and whatnot. We went to all that work, be able to incorporate that. And then at the end of that, do we then, TJ, need somebody to verify that we've done it properly? Because now that's made me nervous that we won't have, like we want to make sure that the structure's right and the language is right and that we have it so that they won't go, yeah, that's not appropriate,
Really appreciate. Yeah, good question, Counselor Cuthbertson. Unlike the comprehensive plan where you can muck it up a little, that's not the case here. We don't have the risk of doing it wrong. The only risk that exists is leaving something out that we so wish we would have included later on, like some kind of project. So
Right.
we're limited only by our ability to make sure we think forward and ahead.
I love that. They did say that to us before, that we should shoot for the moon and what we want. So we need to really keep that in mind when we're going through projects for the parks. We can use the ones that have been given to us already, even if they're outlandish, it's okay. And if we come up with anything else, just make sure that we add all that in there, because then if there's any avenue for us to be able to go for funding or grants or whatever for that project, it's on our plan and we can do it. If it comes to a point where something comes up and we go, oh, we want to do that, but it's not in our plan, we're out of luck until the plan gets updated. Does that make
Absolutely.
sense? Do you guys kind
Yes.
of get that?
Makes a lot of sense. I also noticed when I was reading that the schools were mentioned as
Yeah.
big supporters for being park oriented.
Yeah, that's not.
That's not true.
No, that's not happening, and we knew that. Yeah, we'd already discussed that like 2 years ago with the school district. And while it was it was incorporated in the past as park area, we realized that that probably wasn't going to be the case, and we needed to check. And we did verify with the school district that that is not the case, and so that cannot be considered park area.
The 2011 was the most current update for, actually, I guess that was the only master plan available,
Yeah, I think so.
because everything else was in a kind of a makeshift
Mm-hmm.
comprehensive plan.
Mm-hmm.
Made mention of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make sure that Mark and I will get the current copy out to everybody so that you have it both digitally and you can print it out if you want.
For the next month.
Okay.
So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the old existing one that we have
Mhm.
and soup it up like an old muscle car
Mhm.
and put all our hopes and dreams into it. And if they happen, great. If not, there's still hopes and dreams. Correct.
That's right. That's right, Mark.
Too
And
much than not enough.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why you shoot for the moon.
Yep.
Exactly.
so
So
next month, we're gonna commit to the detailed plan between now and September. All I'm asking you all to do tonight is commit to reading this document between now and next month and leaning into it and identifying those things you really care about. How do we feel about that?
That's good.
I like it. I think it's good.
Need some updated pictures, big time.
I'm on board.
Yeah.
For the document,
Yes.
Yes, we
Easy day.
do. But that's,
It's an easy thing.
yeah, we can.
Yeah, that'll-
We could even make it into a contest if we wanted to, honestly. That would be super
Absolutely.
fun. So for some community engagement.
Absolutely. The other thing I'll mention, going back to this piece here, is when we put together the timeline, when we put together projects, pieces of this over the months, we're going to bounce some of this over to the Planning Commission for guidance and recommendations and vice versa. So there's going to be a lot of cross pollination. I think that's going to be a good thing as well. All right.
excellent.
Mark, are you good? What do you think? Move on to the next
Yeah,
agenda topic?
were there any other questions or concerns about that? Everybody sound like they're on board to,
There was
It-
a mention of selling properties in this master plan, Parks master plan, like the Bill Knapp's property over here.
Mhm.
And there was a couple others that caught my eye about selling. Oh, the park up here on the hill.
in the parks master plan?
Yes,
Okay, I'll have to take a
we'll
look at
need
that.
to really look at over because,
I don't think we can sell. the
Yeah, I
rest of
don't-
our
I don't-
rides.
Think we have the right to sell
No.
the park on top of the hill.
no,
I like that park.
it's in the deed.
So, yeah, that's all stuff we'll have to look through in the next month, trying to determine what's in there and if that's gonna happen or if we wanna push for it to happen or not. But I think, sounds like everybody's on board. We can all kind of review that within the next month and be ready for the next meeting.
Yeah, that's correct.
Cool.
Perfect.
Sounds good to me. TJ, I think we're ready to move
Okay, cool.
forward.
Thanks. So, talk a little bit about how some of the grants we're going to be looking at and can look at are really critical not only to parks projects, so that's our main goal in this committee, is to look at the grants that are going to support parks projects. So there's the Oregon Parks and Recreation Department, there's the Community Service Center and the Economic Development District, the Cascade West. And then there's foundations like the Oregon Recreation and Parks Association and the National Recreation and Parks Association. And there's some more on the next slide that I'll show you too. But our goal is to pursue those grant opportunities at the same time that we're communicating and collaborating with community partners. So Councilor Cuthbertson, you and I talked about, and I believe Councilor Evans, we also mentioned and talked about connecting with nurseries, nonprofit organizations that work on beautification and plants and native species and things like that. Those are folks that can be volunteers and they can write letters of recommendation for those grants. They can even be partners on those grants in cases where we need a partner because of the requirements. So we want to be looking at grants and we want to be building partnerships. We want to be promoting our programs. So one of the things I'd really like to see the city start to do a lot more of is public education and outreach. So once we have programs like the beautification stuff, we want to start promoting it, not only to get volunteers, but also to let all those funders that watch on social media and on websites that we're doing this work. And the other key piece is that, you know, unfortunately, the way the world works is that funders don't really like to fund parks projects. They like to fund infrastructure. They like to fund economic development and housing. They like to fund those things that tug on our heartstrings and make us think more about community development. Parks are kind of like a nice to have. And as sad as that is, it is the reality. So I want to share with you some ways that this committee is going to be able to support infrastructure projects and also build out key pieces of our park master plan. So we've been talking about this for a while. This is one of 5 major capital improvement areas that we're looking to fund in the city. Y'all know this. There's a 6-inch line going under the river, goes back to the 50s. I think it was updated in the 70s or 80s, but the reality is that there's no redundancy. There's no other pipe. If it breaks, you know what out of luck, right? And so
Literally.
Well, yeah.
yeah, exactly right. The
will
lagoons
be.
are within the floodplain. So think about this, right next to the park, those lagoons are also right in the floodplain. So we have requirements, federal and state requirements for protecting those, as well as a commitment to make the place beautiful for citizens. And so the bridge opportunity is just one project that feeds into both our not very attractive and fun looking infrastructure projects, but also at the same time allows us to fund parks projects using that infrastructure money. So it's kind of like putting a nice wrapper on an infrastructure project, and combining the two is very, very helpful in that way. So what we try to do is build both at the same time and take advantage of the crews being deployed at the same time. And building the bridge at the same time that we're bringing the wastewater line in, and then writing those synergies, what we call life cycle cost avoidance potential, into the grants. So we're saying, hey, you know, it would have cost us $1 million to do this piece, but it's really going to cost us 800,000 now because we're being smart and we're combining it with something else that's not necessarily park related. That's a strategy that this committee can bring forward to the rest of the city. So here's some of the grants that this committee can look at. These are the grants I've identified, and council will be looking at these next week. These tie into several of our different projects right now. Some of them are related to the Emergency Operations Center concept for City Hall. Some of them are related to water, wastewater. Some of them are related to things like streets, and I've put an asterisk next to the ones that have kind of a nexus or a crossover with parks. So there's the Ford Family Foundation Technical Assistance Grant. There's the Ford Family Foundation Good Neighbor Grant. There's the U.S. Department of Agricultural Fire Service, or the Wildfire Defense Grant Program. And then also there are programs through the US senators and the US Congress folks, Congresswoman Hoyle, for example, in our district. We're submitting something to her today. And then there's of course even the Oregon Department of Energy, which has things like Oregon Solar and Storage Rebate programs. There are more, but my goal is that it's important that our Parks Master Plan thinks forward about how these different grants can be leveraged in the future with the projects that we include in it. So that's kind of answering the question y'all had earlier about how all this comes together potentially. That's the goal. Questions on that or thoughts?
I just want to make a comment too that if we're really creative in how we're doing things and looking at what we want on our parks master plan, that helps feed this, just like TJ saying. So say we've talked about in the past, and this is just one example. So the park that's just past the library, being able to put a little paved area there, which would bring parking. And then we might be able to do the bicycle rental situation, and maybe do a farmer's market there. And so those are things that also work with tourism and economic things and whatnot. So it combines, those are like little things that buzz that combine for other grants and things. So we're not just going after park stuff. Does that make sense? So that's kind of part of that, making it all work together so that we can actually grab grants and money for things that might not necessarily look like parks.
How does it play in if the city does not own the property but has a lease on it?
Well,
You're
I
thinking
don't,
of that,
Grants.
yeah. So like up by the park or by the library, right, Tim?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's 99-year
Park-
lease, so.
Parks
yeah.
are great for that because parks are not
Mhm.
permanent. The only thing that you have an issue with is if you put something that you can't remove.
Mhm.
mhm.
Okay.
Well, and with what we nicknamed that park the Gateway Park
Mhm.
originally. We just have to also remember that the old railroad right of way is there, so we can't put anything on that.
Right.
That's part of the lease as well.
Right.
So,
But I'm just saying that as an example of how to leverage the grants,
Mhm.
not as this is what we're going to do at this park. I didn't
Right,
mean to stir the pot on the controversy of the park, but just saying that that's how we leverage, some of the grants and get other things going is by really, utilizing the different things that we can do in these areas that will bring things. Like if we do, when the bridge goes in, we've talked often about having things over there because of all the animals. So then you can have people there's like a nature walk and it talks about the animals and has things like that. And so that helps us leverage into some of those other things.
What about the wetlands, like what's in Red Hills
Mhm.
neighborhood, the estates? There's other wetlands in the city, right? Those are part of the parks, are they not?
Correct. Yeah, what you talking about, that big open area within the center of the subdivision over there? Yeah,
Correct.
from my understanding is that is considered in the parks realm.
It is a designated park. Yeah.
You just can't build on it,
mhm.
Right.
big
But
house
you
or
can make
structure.
it into a better park, because isn't the wetlands part, the actual restricted part, is where the water comes through? But the other part, the houses are all butted up against, more where you could probably plant grass or something like that, put some picnic tables and stuff out there.
Mhm.
Now that's a park.
Yes, that is something.
You
So
could
there are
get
things.
grants for the wetlands.
Yes, there are stormwater management parks that you can create. So we have a stormwater management issue in the city. So one of the projects that we will look at after we get the sort of the emergency infrastructure addressed is surface and below surface stormwater. And what you're talking about, Counselor Evans, is yes, there are public spaces where we have wetlands. that are designated as federal wetlands. So you're correct. You can't develop there by law, but we're not talking about developing in a parks committee. We're really talking about building something that would enhance rather than harm the wetlands. So it's always a net positive when you want to create something along the lines of parks and beautification near wetlands. There's also opportunities to take advantage of things that aren't actual wetlands. But we have a lot of water collection. Like you'd look at it and you say, darn, I swear that would be a wetland. And it's not on the wetland map, but it collects water. Similarly there. We have opportunities to turn those into constructed wetlands and pair them with walking paths and large rocks and native plants and tie that into walking paths throughout the city. Right. So these are some of the things we want to think about. Now, we're calling it a park, but really at the end of the day, it's a stormwater management plan too.
Gotcha.
It's one opportunity. Not saying that's like, of course, like, what I'm proposing yet. It's definitely a cool idea. Mark, was that the space, by the way, where you and the mayor and I went in the truck like on my second or third day? And we got out and we kind of walked and you said this would be a great place for a park. I think it was near Red Hill. It was a large area.
Yes, so you go in there, you got 10th Street and then Aldrich and then Shelby. So this is sandwiched between, right behind all the houses that are between Aldrich and Shelby. So it's a
Yep.
pretty large open area. And I agree with you. I'd love to have some stuff back there because mowing that is one of the biggest headaches I have. It is a bumpy, annoying ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really have to think
kinda
about
useless
maintenance.
right now. But
Correct.
couldn't you put a pavilion back there with
It,
picnic tables?
yeah, I think it all comes down to what
Or
we're
small
allowed to do.
structures with picnic tables?
Yeah, it's gonna
Well-
come down to what we're allowed to do within wetlands mitigation areas. So
That's right.
we'd have to look into that and
Well, you can move
From
50
there.
50 cubic yards of dirt into a wetlands area
into.
per year.
Per year.
Yeah, that's what that.
So,
that
you
wetland
know,
special
as far as
permit.
what she's talking about, like an area for picnic tables and whatnot,
Mhm.
it's very doable. So
Right,
There's
but we
something to-
also, we can't just throw 50 cubic yards of dirt
No.
in there and hope for the best. We'd have to come up with, because putting that dirt in there is also gonna divert whatever water comes in there, so we'd have to figure that out too.
Right.
it could be also gravel.
Yeah,
Think much water comes in that one part that's west, up closer to the houses where the poison oak is a problem.
there's a lot of poison. That whole area gets soaked pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. There are areas that are
It's 10th right along the county line.
Mhm.
We get a lot of water.
there, yes, yeah, there are areas back there that get way worse than others. I had our tractor stuck back there for a day and a half last year,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
it gets wet back there.
This year's very.
And
tame.
it's usually into June and July by the time I can actually mow the entire area.
Get praised a lot on our Facebook page
well,
for
thank you.
neighborhood when
Thanks.
we mow.
And
Oh.
yes, we do get calls early in the season for getting it mowed and stuff like that. And I try to get what I can done, but it just gets so wet back there and it stays wet well into the summer. So I have to be careful of where we go with that tractor back there.
That's true wetlands.
It is true
It is.
wetlands back there.
Yeah. Water can get rip roaring through there.
Mhm. At least it's not in your house though.
Well, it kind of used to be almost.
Yeah.
We,
This is a subject
Take
right
a
now
lot
we're
to get
talking
it.
about.
So
Well-
he just was talking about the grants and the funding. So
Okay.
So TJ, I think sounds like we're moving on to the last topic, which is the existing $2,000 appropriation, or unless there was anything else.
I I sent Dan and Janie a picture of some Frisbee golf cages.
Mm-hmm.
I asked Steve several years ago to put a couple of these in the
Did it?
parks,
Mhm.
I didn't get it.
and it never went anywhere. And I know why,
Yeah, I
but
know what they're.
just something for the people to do.
Right.
It's not a swing set, but it's something to have somebody say, oh, hey, we're getting something new in the park.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
really builds morale.
Those things are
Agree with
cool.
you.
Yeah. You gotta be careful with those though, because a lot of like the parks in Eugene and stuff like that have designated courses for them.
Sure.
And I mean, we get a lot of foot traffic through there. And it's a large park, but it's not a large park as you'd go into like Hendricks Park down in downtown Eugene, stuff like
Right.
that. So they've got the room and the space for those. So the concern with putting those in my opinion, would be somebody's throwing their disc, and those things aren't light. They're pretty hefty. And if, somebody's kid goes running through and
Mhm.
intercepts that disc with their head, then we got a liability issue.
Same
A
thing
good
with
point, Mark.
baseball.
Mhm.
I mean,
It's true, but you could make everything in this world a safety issue
Oh yeah.
and nothing ever gets done.
Oh yeah.
Right.
That's true.
That's kind of what's happened here.
Mhm.
Nothing's ever getting done.
Well, there's a lot of that park over there that is overgrown. Like I've got areas on the backside of the ponds that would be good usable area for. It wouldn't be a frisbee golf course. It would probably be, what are they? I don't know, like a
couple things to
putting green
practice.
basically. So you could set up a throwing spot, and then you could set up the cage, and people could just come practice their throws back there in a straight line.
Yep.
Not a well-traveled area if we got those areas cleared out. So these are all things we could talk about and put them into the master plan.
Yep.
We used to
Horseshoe pit.
have horseshoe pits here years ago.
That would be awesome.
absolutely.
So, that's in our parks master plan. So
Uh,
things to
You
think
could,
about.
you
They're
could
not very
argue about
expensive.
the horseshoes.
But-
Exactly. We're gonna be
You know,
Absolutely.
spinning
being a
that
safety
master
issue.
plan up. So horseshoe pits want to stay in there. We'll keep those in there, and those are relatively inexpensive, and upkeep is not
You can
horrible
get
on
it
something like that.
coated.
Start small and work
I
our
know,
way
but you know,
big.
kids.
Yeah, that's the
I'm
thing.
all for that.
All right. So I think we're moving to the $2,000 appropriation, TJ.
No, right?
Mark,
Yeah.
I think you're probably the most excited person to talk about this because you've been sitting on these for a while, haven't you?
I have been sitting on these for a while, since I think beginning of last summer. So I don't think everybody knows. I know I've discussed them with the mayor and Councilor Cuthbertson.
Yep.
So I think everybody remembers beginning of last summer, Pacific Power hired MR Tree Service to come through the whole Highway 99 corridor from basically the California border all the way up to the Washington border to clear power lines. Well, I talked to one of the managers at Pacific Power that was overseeing that program. Come to find out, so basically, if Pacific Power came and fell a tree on your property because it impeded the power lines, but that was your tree, you planted it, they would give you a voucher to replace that tree with something that's not going to impede the power lines in the future. Well, they do that for cities as well, but instead of it being a small $200 to $500 voucher, they gave us $2,000 to go bring in plants and shrubbery and flowers and things like that. So they came through, they took out all of our trees that were impeding the power lines. So they handed me $2,000 worth of vouchers. There is a list of nurseries that accept these vouchers. I think the closest one is up in Corvallis, but we have these. And we've discussed numerous times getting volunteers in here. And I was kind of just thinking about it while we were talking. Schools were brought up. This would be awesome to get like the grade school involved. Have a class come out. We have a bunch of plants. Here, kids, go plant these.
Arbor Day comes in.
We also have, it hasn't been talked about in quite a while, and I'm sure we'll put this in the master plan, but we have that giant, beautiful piece of wood that Whole Oaks donated that
Yep, we still do.
Supposed to be the sign.
supposed to be the sign at the park.
Yep.
So kind of back to where you were asking is projects and beautification, that
Mhm.
putting that sign up would be a project. Then the beautification would come in and they would do their part around that sign, putting plants and lights and all that stuff for that sign. So, but right now we have $2,000 and I've looked at them. It doesn't look like there's any kind of expiration date on it, but I think those would be a great place to start. And I think that's something we could get on fairly soon.
Mhm.
It's
So
coming into the season.
Arbor Day is Friday, April 24th. FYI.
Okay. Last summer, I think it was,
I won't
We-
be here.
took out the grass area on the side of the park and made
Oh,
more
yeah.
parking.
Mhm.
And I put a designated little area around the current sign that's there.
Mhm.
Previous city administrator was supposed to head up getting plants. He had hookups at nurseries and stuff like that. He was supposed to bring in native plants and it never happened. So we've got that area that could use a bunch of plants and it would be
Mhm.
beautiful. It's just sitting there ready to go.
Perfect.
Does
So
it
Mark-
have to be plants?
They're just vouchers to nurseries. So they could be plants, they could be flowers, they could be,
But they need to be appropriate to the spot. So we need to pick a spot and then what we'll do when we go and talk to the nurseries and see what they can offer and stuff, then we're gonna get their, input on what needs to be where and whatnot.
definitely looking towards
So,
drought
Yep,
tolerant.
we want drought
native,
tolerant
Otherwise they'll die.
and things that don't need a lot of maintenance because we don't want to put more pressure on our crew. So
Mhm.
it needs to be, but we're gonna consult some people that can really speak to what needs to happen with them. We're not gonna just willy-nilly go pick whatever.
Right. And TJ, you were about to say something?
Yeah, Mark, I was gonna say, why don't you and I work on a presentation for April?
Okay.
And it sounds like you've got some ideas that could get the juices flowing with the rest of the committee. I think during that presentation, we can get into more of the detail a little bit about what your ideas are and when, and then use that direction, go forward, and maybe even begin purchasing or whatever from there, potential guidance from council. But it should be a simple, easy thing to decide on. Do you want to work on that, like a presentation for the next meeting?
Yeah, I can get together with you a little bit more, discuss it a little further and build something.
Good deal. Are there ideas that committee members have already? And if so, maybe y'all can throw those, or email Mark, so he can include those and we can look at those and put them in the presentation. Counselor Cuthbertson, I think if I recall, you had a couple of ideas.
Yeah, do you want me to do this real quick before we adjourn?
That's up to you, but it would also be
Okay.
helpful if you sent them like probably to Mark and like an email so that when we're putting together if you have the time, I know you're a busy person too.
Yeah, no, I actually wrote it down for like I told you, like I kind of do for the agenda for the next time.
Oh,
So I'll
nice.
just hand it to Mark before I leave. But so under beautification, these are just some things that we talked about in the past. I'm just going to go over them real quick. Is volunteer and community outreach. So that would be, having things that people want to get involved with. We have gardens that we can work on if we so choose. They're community gardens, plantings at different areas around the city, like we've been discussing, and then brush clearing and whatnot for the park areas, like you were talking about. We have some really nice big areas that would be great to be used, but it takes a lot more work than what Public Works can do. And then also community cleanup. And we've had some cleanup days in the past. We usually try, I think, to coordinate them when Republic Services comes.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
I think so. Or we acquire the dumpster at the park and.
Right. And so there's a few different ways we can do it. And then typically people will donate trucks, trailers, whatever, and then their time. And we'll go around and be able to pick up like yard debris and things in the community. So that's also something that can happen under that. So those are just some of the project things that kind of have fallen in the past under beautification, since we didn't have anything really listed out for that tonight.
I have a couple of questions, if that's okay. Under the community cleanup type thing and all that, would that include like walking around cleaning up trash along 99?
Yes.
We could make a contest for the different residential streets. Who
Yeah,
has
that
the
was-
cleanest street?
Sure.
Also, does anybody know if we have any master gardeners in
Yes.
the
Yeah.
city?
Yes, we do.
Are you one?
It is my profession.
Okay. Well, I know you get flowers, so I didn't
So,
know.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That
Yeah,
sounds
but there's several.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
Is Eliza
there's
doing it
many.
too?
I'm not sure if she is, but I mean, she's got a degree in it, so
Yeah.
Who's
you
that?
know, Eliza.
Eliza Mason.
Oh,
Yeah.
Eliza
And then our gal who does the gardens, most of
Rita.
the gardens around Rita,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
Loretta
Yeah, yeah.
Davis.
Rita,
Yeah,
she's
Loretta.
amazing and knows a lot too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to, but there's several people that are very well versed.
Yeah, there's a gal on Main Street. I'd have to reach out. She came into City Hall once, but she's also a landscaper.
Mhm.
So I'm sure she would.
So why are they not here?
In my travels, I can stop and talk to these people.
Yeah.
And,
That would be
ask them
wonderful.
if they'd be interested in getting on a committee or being involved.
Mhm. Yeah.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
Nothing,
bed and
just let's
breakfast?
volunteer when we have things.
People.
Up there, top of the hill,
Mhm.
commercial.
Nice folks. I've met them a couple times.
I think she works at a nursery
Okay.
and she's put all those shrubs in where.
Make a lot of
at the
sense.
house,
Yep.
Oh,
And
okay.
she wants to get more community involved, so
Excellent.
I'd stop and see them.
Yep.
Mhm.
I've talked to her a few times on the phone. I have not met her in person yet. I've met her husband a couple times. Really nice guy.
Nice people.
And then to play into your volunteers, things like that. It's probably been 6-8 months, but we were looking into, it's not so much volunteer, but in the past, we looked at bringing in the sheriff's road crew. We found out that is a paid service. It costs a lot more than you'd think. I can't remember.
Trade out for them.
off the top of my
into
head,
the
but-
station.
We can, for some reason, we got taken off the community service list.
Oh.
So Benton County, when somebody gets court ordered community service, has a list of places you can go do this
Oh.
community service. I had a fellow reach out to me a while back
Mhm.
and ask if he could do his community service with the city. I said, I don't see why not. I ran it through the city administrator at the time. He was on board, so we had him here.
Mhm.
40 hours, I think, with community service, and he did a great job cleaning up the toddler park, getting all the weeds out of there. I saw the list at the time. I said, why are we not on this? So
No doubt.
Shannon was working on it. I don't know where it went from there, so we'll have to look into that again, but getting somebody down here for community service, depending on their offenses, would be awesome, I think.
Absolutely.
So Mark, I can speak to that.
Oh, yay.
Shannon wasn't working on this.
Oh.
Shannon did a little bit of research for me. This is something that we had to bring to CIS, our insurer. And we really should have done that around the first time too. And nothing happened. So no harm, no foul. If anything happens, and this is why we didn't just pull the trigger and get back on the list when that came across my desk. I checked in with CIS and they said, yeah, don't do that until we look at your policy and make sure that we understand any
Oh.
liability issues. And then if there's a need to add a rider to our policy or any additional coverage, we'd then share that with our attorney. We're doing a full comprehensive insurance review. So one of the things that I'm juggling right now is every 3 years we go through a complete comprehensive, very detailed insurance review. And that's at the end of the month on the 31st of this month. I'll be discussing that. So that's actually in the queue of my topics to bring up with the insurance person who's going to come spend 2 to 3 hours with me at City Hall, just going through everything. So my hope is that coming close to summertime, we would be able to get that program moving ahead if there are no concerns.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I
Awesome.
wasn't,
Yay.
I wasn't sure where it went from Shannon, so thank you.
Yeah, sorry, Mark, no worries. It's one of the many things that I've got in the hopper, but just isn't like at the top. So we probably just didn't discuss it in our one-on-ones. My apologies. I think I lost folks. I don't know if I'm not hearing anything anymore.
So,
We have Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts
DJ, we got you?
down again.
Yeah, there you are. Yeah.
We do.
The whole thing just
At this
glitched out.
point, I
and
don't
the sign
think we
back
have
in.
any in town. I think our closest ones are Junction City.
Wonder what happened.
But if they're willing to come
Well,
here.
that'd be a good
to it.
thing to,
We're talking about Boy Scouts and Eagle projects is what you missed there, TJ.
Okay.
Yeah, Councilor Evans asked about Boy Scouts and their capabilities and projects. We used to have the Boy Scouts would do meetings
Meet
here.
here,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I think that ended with COVID.
yeah, I think so.
So it was actually fairly recently that they came and got all their stuff.
should
one
actually
thing-
try and get them involved again.
Well,
One thing to
I
note,
just
you
don't know
guys-
if they're still troop.
Troop around here, yeah.
Boys are still boys and we
Yeah.
got plenty of them.
Yes.
Helps keep them out
Um,
of trouble.
So another thing we'll
Yeah.
think about as the Parks Committee too, and to share this with council is, making sure we don't cross pollinate volunteers with folks from the correction system and then
Yes.
folks, that's
Right.
part of what the beautification committee and the volunteer like management piece is going to come in, and it's just something that came to mind just now as we were talking through that.
And I've talked with the VFW in the past before too, and they're always
Oh, yeah, that's a good
always
point.
looking for volunteer
Okay.
opportunities and stuff like that. So great group of guys. So sure, if we ask nicely, I'm sure they'd come pitch in.
That'd be awesome.
Whatever happened to the community garden that was over at the park?
So I was gonna try and actually add that to the presentation for next month. It just popped in my head kind of while we were discussing. So I didn't think that was a
Mhm.
awesome idea from the get-go. But we had some people that did, so we went ahead and went with it. It lasted for about a year,
Mhm.
a season, and then it fell off. Then we got Ron and Frida as the park host, and then they tried to run it, and they got a pretty good amount of vegetables and stuff from it. They kept what they needed, and then I think they donated the rest to the food bank and a couple other places. But again, I mentioned getting the grade school out to help plant things. I know coming, the next month or so, my daughter's going to bring home a cup with paper towels in it and a seed.
Mhm.
So I know most grade schools do that. So if we have that place still set up, I have water to it. So if they wanted to come out and have some kind of program for the grade school to maybe do some
I don't
gardening.
think they're gonna want to cross over to that. They would have to
Oh, that's
bus.
a good point. They would have to bus.
They would have to bus, and
That
I
is-
think that would be too expensive, unfortunately,
That's a
but
really good point.
yeah.
So, as far as the community garden, I know, great. If we can do it, awesome.
Or
That's
maybe-
awesome, but we had a couple community members that pitched in and wanted a box, but we also have the sharing gardens, I think is what it's called.
Correct.
That does a lot of that already. So, I mean, I don't know if we were stepping on their toes or if that's why the show out for it was so minimal. But if that's something we wanted to do again, I mean, it's still there.
Also, I wonder, I know they have a gleaning group out of there. They might be willing to do it as well.
Okay.
But whoever does it, we need to make sure that we have rules and standards for it.
Mhm.
So that it doesn't become just a huge issue, that
Overgrown
they're,
and
yeah,
forest.
right. If they're not gonna tend it, that they take it out and clean it up and cover it and so that it's tidy and ready for the next people who want to do it, not just leave a big mess.
Yeah, and last summer we had a lot going on, so I didn't bring it up, but I was wondering if we should just get rid of it and donate what we had to the sharing garden or whatnot. But if we want to start that up again, it's a little bit of weeding and it's ready to roll.
What was the deal with it? Was it individual people just grew what they wanted and they took what they could use, or
It was that way the first year.
did they
the-
pay for the plot?
No, they just signed up for it
And helped
and helped
to an
garden
extent
it.
build it.
Yeah,
yes.
one of our person that was on beautification ran it
Mm-hmm.
last time and organized it. And then you said that Ron took it over. I didn't know that. That's awesome that they did that and ran it. And
It just became too much for the two of them to handle.
yeah,
So they didn't do it
it'd
again.
be a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just depends on how we want to structure. I'd like to see it get used, but if it sits and it doesn't get used, I think that, it would be nice. I mean, could we use that spot what other things could we put in that spot and something we need to think
Need
about?
more parking.
We've
We
had
do.
some discussions in the past about things that could happen there. Somebody mentioned to me putting in a couple RV spots back there.
Mhm.
You know, somebody wants to come rent an RV spot for wine country in the summer or whatnot. That's something that's been mentioned.
That fit under economic.
That was brought up 10 years
Development.
ago.
Yep.
So, I mean, so those are things, that's where we need to look and see what we can leverage and then make, because we can always put up garden beds somewhere else as well.
Mhm.
So we need to just really think about that. So that's just, as we're moving forward with the parks plan and whatnot, these are all things that we need to keep our mind to. And
What part of the park is this? And can we use it to plant seeds or little starters for plants to put elsewhere for our beautification
yeah, we could,
projects?
you're just gonna
Perfect
have
fit.
to watch what you plant there. But anyway, we can get somebody who can help us with that. And, but as you pull into the park, you know where the restrooms are?
Mhm.
On the right side, past the restrooms,
Heading back to the
heading
wastewater
towards the
ponds.
wastewater plant is where the garden beds
Right,
are.
right across from the ball field.
So,
We could go over there at some point,
Yeah.
take a little tour of it.
But not
Well,
too
we'll-
much. I've walked there
we'll take a
once or
tour.
twice with
Yeah.
my dogs, but that's a dangerous walk with dogs. so
Mhm.
Right.
I
Yes.
haven't done it much.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
Well, is there anything else? TJ, did you have anything else?
No, that was it. I think that this is the perfect, end to that discussion. Everything's about trade-offs.
Awesome. Well, so I guess between now and next meeting, we're all gonna go over the current Parks Master Plan, kind of come up with some ideas on our own. I'm gonna get with TJ a little bit, discuss more of what needs to be in this presentation for next month. If you guys have any ideas, please feel free to email them to me. We'll get them added in there and
Mhm.
let's get this train rolling again.
Sounds
Awesome.
good.
Now, do I adjourn or do you adjourn?
She's the chair, so.
We're gonna call this meeting to a close and adjourn.
Awesome.
Have a good night, everyone.
TJ, you
night.
too. Thank you.